Hello and welcome to beautiful, scenic Defusky Island and this once-in-a-lifetime chance to invest in an exclusive Sea Island resort. This court-ordered sale boasts 2 championship golf courses, a beach club, an inn, deep water lots, cottage homes, and more. And it's a rare opportunity not to be missed.
In 2017, nestled on the secluded and historic Defusky Island, the former Melrose Inn Hotel became a victim of deception and fraud. Today we're going to take a look at what happened and find out what's left.
The elegance of the South is present in the decor of the lobby, and the theme is continued in the spacious guest rooms. With strong guest loyalty, the inn is home to hundreds of weddings, reunions, and corporate events every year.
Today we're on the absolutely beautiful Defusky Island, now inside the former lobby of the scenic Melrose Inn. It all began in 1987 with the construction of this 50-room, almost boutique-style plantation resort. However, the property expanded much further than just the hotel. Melrose encompassed a staggering 680 acres of property on the island, featuring championship golf courses, a beach club, rental villas, even the property of the main island dock.
It's weird why only one portion of the ceiling here, and this one's still intact. I don't know why. Huh. Look how this lobby has been like cut right down the middle. One half is still intact and the other is just completely gutted.
The resort operated smoothly for nearly 15 years and changed owners during that time. Though in 2001, the resort was once again sold off, and the following few years had a hard time keeping profitable. And soon after the recession, the resort filed for bankruptcy in 2009.
Yeah, I may need my respirator. Oh, jeez. Jeez, man. It's like something out of a horror movie. This looks like the kitchen and the staff area back here. Yep. Holy crap, look at this.
Through the next few years, Melrose was kept up and put up for auction in 2010. However, with no bidders initially, it was finally sold a year later to a Utah-based entity called the Polaris Group. However, this is where the Ponzi scheme began. James Thomas Bramlett, along with other various colleagues involved in the organization, had borrowed over $17 million to purchase the property, then accumulated another $10 million in private investors, to which they promised the newly purchased Melrose would be renovated and that investors would get a healthy return once the resort was refinanced or sold. However, as time passed, just the beach club was successfully reopened, with the golf courses, the villas, and the inn left completely abandoned.
Dining room, probably? Wow. This is spectacular. Looks like the weather has taken its toll. This building is most certainly in rough condition. You know, for how secluded this place is, I'm actually surprised there's this much vandalism. Some of it's natural decay, like the paint and the corrosion on the metal and all that, but there's still a lot of human intervention, which is, it's just odd.
Then in 2017, a big red flag appeared when Melrose had once again filed for bankruptcy. Suddenly, a bright spotlight had been placed on the company and the investors, which had reported that they hadn't received their promised 12% annual investment returns since 2014. 2014 was also the year that the owners began to fall behind on their monthly mortgage payments for the resort, eventually accumulating around $27 million in debt. In 2018, James Bramlett, along with others, were indicted and exposed of their vast financial crimes. Allegedly, Bramlett had spent over $1.5 million on himself and had been transferring tens of millions of dollars to other companies owned by his business partner.
That's odd. Usually you don't see drywall backing into an elevator shaft.
All of this accumulated to over $22 million in investor funding unaccounted for, and private investors, many of whom were just retirees that invested their life savings into this, had pretty much just lost everything. Courts called this basically a Ponzi scheme, and James Bramlett, along with others, were charged with 3 counts of wire fraud, along with up to 6 new criminal charges. As of right now, the investigation is still ongoing, and Melrose was left abandoned.
Ooh, the weepy fan. All that moisture. Dishwashing station. That's what this side is, I think. Wine and bar area, it looks like. Looks like a drink making station here. Oh wow, look how big this kitchen is. Man, look at the mold. There's one of the offices, probably the head chef or someone. That's a tiny office. Oh God. Look at this big mixer. Or no, this wasn't a mixer. What was this? What do you call these things? I can't believe how bad it is in here. Good Lord. And that leads out into the dining room, it looks like. Huh. How you doing? Yeah, these look like conference rooms. Although this, it looks like they turned into an office. Huh. Hmm. $2007. $218. 18.24 million. Huh. Well, that's odd, isn't it? Well, it looks like the garage or storage area. Nice. So taking up the staircase now. One side. TV's still here. Talk about a nice room too. What a view. Man, look at this palm tree growing through the window. This room is pretty intact, actually. Man, the spiders in here are terrifying.
Something interesting about this property as well is the enormous amount of erosion. Usually when you think of decay, you think of like peeling walls or something, but this is a really interesting alternative example of it. This entire side of the island is very susceptible to beach erosion. So to combat that, a steel break wall was put in place to contain the earth behind it. However, since at least 2012, a portion of that break wall collapsed, and since the resort was basically abandoned, it only got worse. Then, in October of 2016, Hurricane Matthew had made landfall just a few miles up the coast. Defusky Island and Hilton Head were hit relatively hard, and the entire beach of the Melrose was just decimated. The powerful waves had just eaten away any protection it had. And today, the sea is, well, you could see swallowing the gazebo at the end of the pathway. If nothing is done about this too, and even if there is another hurricane in the future, the erosion could potentially make its way even down the pathway itself. It's a very interesting example of what happens when people just leave. Today, the island of Defusky is badly damaged by the fall of Melrose. It was once a huge draw to tourism for the island, and that was taken advantage of by horrible people. The lasting fallout of what happened can be seen basically everywhere on the island. While some of the former cottage villas and beach club are restored, many buildings remain abandoned and boarded up. If you're ever in the Hilton Head or Savannah area, I highly recommend spending a day on the island. It will not only help the local economy, but hopefully restore Defusky back to a time before all of this mess. Thanks for watching, everyone.